Welcome back, campers. I'm Jersh,
And I'm Mears.
and we're the Modern Campfire Crew huddled around our computers to discuss all things movies. In this episode, we're going to provide our reaction slash recap slash review of the Oscars. They just stopped airing about 20 or 30 minutes ago, so we took some time to gather our thoughts and then turned on the cameras and microphones to record a video right away to discuss the Oscars. If you're new around here and you like the movie reviews and discussions that we have, make sure you subscribe and comment to join in on the conversation. If you want to get caught up on our prediction episode because you're a purist, I would watch that before you watch our recap episode. You can watch it at double speed. Nobody, I won't tell anybody. But we're not going to go through each individual prediction right or wrong. We are going to go through some overall thoughts, some upsets, surprises, things like that. And then we will share the scores for our little prediction game. We'll share that toward the end too. So let me ask you, fresh off the Oscars, before we get into the nitty gritty of the awards and who won and who didn't, just what are your overall thoughts on the presentation of the show and kind of a review of the Oscars in general?
Yeah, actually, I thought it was pretty good this year. I enjoyed the opening monologue. I thought he didn't uh pull any punches. He really got some zingers in on some people. And I think it was a nice, like, little bit more lighthearted. There was no slapping, which is always great. Um, and they really praised um, the strikes that happened last year and how everybody was able to persevere through that and still be able to make these amazing movies. And yeah, I thought it was a good show. I liked some of the changes that they made. Yeah, I thought it was a good show.
Okay. I missed the monologue because of my technical difficulties. Like the second I tried to watch to turn on the TV, I had my food ordered, I had everything ready to go, and then I tried to start the stream and I was locked out of the stream. So I missed like the opening 10 minutes. And when I finally tuned in, the first award was being given out, but it was past winners there that were like introducing or saying nice things about the new nominees. So I was confused because I didn't understand the setup or premise of I was just waiting to see clips from movies and what we normally see. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a very watchable, very enjoyable Oscars presentation. There was a lot of variety in the ways that they shared the nominations. I felt that even though there was the music played and the wrap it up music did get played a couple of times, I thought for the most part most awards were given ample time to say meaningful and memorable and emotional things. And I thought that the time was mostly used wisely. It was a little bit of a slow start, a little too much time dedicated to just two awards in like 30 or 40 minutes. But then they really started to lightning in a respectful, fast, good paced way, where they had presenters awarding, two awards back to back, just like that were related. Sound, and song, and adapted screenplay and original screenplay. Instead of creating all this separation between them, I really liked how they kind of categorized that. I did like some of the musical performances. I will talk about maybe some ones that I didn't. I do like this idea of, because film is a let's do another take format. It's not a live format. So when you get to see performers live, any chance that you can, I always appreciate that, to either put their talent on display or maybe prove their talent in some cases. It's like, okay, if you had 100 takes, you could do it, but what if you only had just one take? You know what I mean? So yeah, I liked how, yeah, the variety of how awards were given out and how they sometimes they showed clips, sometimes they just show film reels in the background. Sometimes if your best picture, you don't even get to know the nominees. Pacino
Yeah,
just screws up and says the name barely.
yeah.
um, but yeah, overall, I did enjoy it quite a bit, and I haven't watched. I think maybe La La Land, maybe 8 years ago when Emma Stone last won, might have been the last time I watched. Like I have not paid attention to or watched. Like I've always heard, like, oh, I'll Google it when it's over, or I'll if something happens, whatever. Like even last year when the slap happened, I was streaming a game on Twitch. Like I wasn't watching the Oscars. I was playing games, streaming games, as a matter of fact. And then we got that live reaction. I was like, wait, what happened at the Oscars? um, so yeah, and I will say, like, just this journey of starting a movie review podcast in Oscar season and watching some of the best movies of the year, the best performances of the year, hearing the best music of the year, and then seeing that celebrated in such a positive and warm human ceremony was like really impactful to me in ways that I did not expect. Where I just was like, reminded of watching the Oscars when I'm a kid and, making well and sure that my dreams are dead and that I will never be making movies in this life. But
Yeah.
I will be writing books. That is that's a guarantee. I will get to keep writing books. And yeah, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had a couple questions written down that I thought maybe we could discuss, but was there any highlights or lowlights that you wanted to discuss? Since we're not going to do like a spoiler section, but is there just any, standouts, good or bad moments, awards, whatever that you wanted to just discuss?
Yeah, so definitely the performance of I'm Just Ken was a great it was the showstopper of the
Mm-hmm.
show. Um I really loved Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, and then just the Batman. I never thought about the fact that they were both
Mm-hmm.
Batman villains, and then just hearing like them start bullying him in the crowd, and he's sitting there steel faced, and Arnold going, "You son of a bitch," and like talking about they were gonna get him at the governor's ball, and it was I thought that was such a fun thing to do, and I hi Yoshi, and I just that was probably my favorite part of the show, honestly.
Yeah, it's so criminal that I'm Just Ken didn't win. It just is. I understand
Mhm.
it. Hearing that was my first time hearing What Was I Made For start to finish. Like I heard the 30 seconds of it that played
Me
in the
too.
movie, and I'd never sought it out or wanted to listen to it. I just wanted to listen to I'm Just Ken because it's so funny. It's very character driven. A character in the movie
Mhm.
sings it. It wasn't, what was I made for is, again, just like No Time to Die, like the pop star writes a song for the movie, whereas I'm Just Ken is literally a participant in the film with agency in the story, singing his feelings and emotions. I'm
Mhm.
Just Ken is the best song. It is the better song. Now I'm not saying like What Was I Made For? It's not a bad song. I liked the
Yeah.
melody. I thought she sung it really well. Like the Barbie performances are my two favorite musical performances. The other ones I could take or leave. I didn't care about the other ones. Um,
Yeah.
in particular, I'm going to refer to my notes. Let me look at my notes. Okay. Um, I got a lot of notes here.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Oh, and also, so okay, so this is like my notes like in real time. First time hearing the Billie Eilish song all the way through. I'm Just Ken is better, but there was a really cool background shot from the side angle for the Billie Eilish performance because normally, and again to this day, of any live musical performances that I'm familiar with, Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper, Shallow, still the goat, still number
Mhm.
one. But this was really good. So if you recall the Lady Gaga Bradley Cooper performance, there's that angle that looks out at the audience, and then they do spin it around and show them at the piano. This one is really
Mhm.
cool because it starts facing the audience, then it turns around and faces them, and then there's a side shot, and you get to see backstage. But they knew backstage was going to be visible, so they dressed it and they gave it a purple light, and it was like a really intimate, uh, kind of vulnerable angle that you can't see in the audience. Like we get to see that at home. They don't even get to see that being there
Yeah.
live. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, what was the guy? John Batiste.
Ben Batiste. Mhm.
Yeah, Never Went Away. Uh, I thought that song was awful. I thought I did not like the song at all, and I thought it was performed terribly. It did not
He,
sound good live.
yeah, he was almost a little flat, I think, is what it
And
was.
sharp
See,
and
I
everywhere where he was supposed to be. And maybe it was Oscar nerves, but it was not good.
I know he's kind of I've never really listened to his music. He was featured on a Lana Del Rey song on her most recent album and was in the music video for it. That's all that I know about him. But I think he's like pretty popular. So I kind of was surprised that it wasn't that great. But yeah, it might have been voice shaky,
Has to be
like
jitters.
nerves, because
Yeah.
I think he's pretty like new to the business. Like
Hmm.
he's not been too established, I don't think. So it's
Performing on the Oscars often.
yeah.
Hey, do you come here to the
Right,
Oscar stage
exactly.
often? um,
Yeah, so it could have been. But yeah, that one and then the Becky G one from the Flamin' Hot movie was like weird because she barely sang it. It was
mm-hmm.
like but kids were singing the chorus. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
barely hear her singing it. And
Yeah.
then yeah, it was just weird. And I think that's such a random like movie to have a song nominated at the Oscar. Movie about flaming hot Cheetos.
I mean, I'm like disappointed. Like I'm sure that we could have found better original songs written for movies. I guess not. I guess this was it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
um yeah, I the Flamin' Hot song, the Batiste song, and then the Killers of the Flower Moon, like I, that song is fine, but the actual like kind of theme song from the movie, down, 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 that bass line.
Hmm.
I would have lost my shit if I would have heard that one live. But instead, they played the song for our people, which again, it's more, it's respectful of the Osage people. It's an original song that they wrote, and so I understand and appreciate that. And I'm not. I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't do a medley. It wasn't a particularly long song.
Right.
You could have done the one that has more meaning, which is this song, and then you could have done the one that is more known, that has more melody,
Hmm.
that is maybe better suited for a live performance, which is kind of that main music, that musical score. But either way, it was cool. I don't know if every best song needs a live performance, but I don't know what I would substitute it with. So I guess I'm fine sitting through the rough
Yeah.
performances for the good ones because Gosling is Ken in the pink tux, starting with the
Hmm.
sunglasses over Margot Robbie's
In the
shoulder.
in the audience.
It was awesome. It's like it's
Yeah.
Gaga and Bradley Cooper and then Ryan Gosling. It's like right there.
Hmm.
I'm like I'm gonna rewatch that 100 times. I loved it, you know. And then thankfully Mark Ronson was there for a Mark Ronson production of a Mark Ronson song, which I'm super glad he got to participate because he doesn't really get enough credit for the songs that he does by Mark Ronson.
Yeah.
Um,
Agree.
but
And Slash, I didn't realize that Slash was even in the song. He's in it. Um, Eddie Van Halen's son is on it, and then
Wolfgang,
someone,
Wolfie,
yeah, from and it was a Foo Fighters guy, um,
Taylor
John
Hawkins, Pat Smear,
Freeze or
probably the
somebody.
guitarist. Okay,
Yeah, they're all on it. I didn't know that,
me
but that's
either.
apparently, Mark Ronson, the producer Mark Ronson, who produced the song. Um,
Mhm.
he called them and like brought them in after Ryan recorded the vocals. I didn't know that at all. I was like, oh, here's Slash. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, what are, and again, I mean, I have specific questions, but I just want to share a few of my notes before I get to those questions.
Hmm.
I was shocked that Poor Things won makeup and hair, and that Maestro didn't win. I was completely shocked. I'm happy for them because Poor Things is my favorite movie that I wanted to
Hmm.
win Best Picture. Um, but I really felt like Willem Dafoe's makeup just screamed like I had special effects makeup put on my face. Like I can't. It was like such obviously makeup, but it fit for the tone of the world. Like we talked about
Hmm.
Ruffalo's accent coming in and out. You know what I mean? It's almost like
Yeah.
it's like a farcical play come to life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it kind of fit, but I was really happy for them. Um,
They did a lot for a while there. I was like, are they gonna do a clean sweep? Or are they just gonna get everything?
I had a feeling that like, okay, they're winning more than they should here because the last half of the show is going to be the Oppenheimer show. Like that was like my
Mm.
feeling. Um, for the best international film, I still think Society of the Snow is a much more successful story and movie. Um, and I genuinely think that like if the zone of interest wasn't specifically about the charged subject matter of the Holocaust, if it was a different, it was just bad things are happening over the fence and we're just quiet over here minding our own business, I feel like it would get a fraction of the attention, you know.
Mm.
Again, as a short film, I think it would have been like a 10 out of 10. Like this, 5 or 10 minutes of this concept is like, oh my gosh. But it just didn't justify a full length movie for me personally. It was kind of very
Yeah.
one note. Like once you've seen a scene, you've seen the movie. That is what it is the whole time, you know? Um, I thought Ryan Gosling with Emily Blunt, where they took jabs at each other over the Barbenheimer summer, was awesome. Like they said
Mhm.
things you would assume executives would say, "Don't say that at the Oscars." Like they like said it.
Yeah.
So like, oh my gosh. Um, and they were there because they're coming out with a movie called The Fall Guy soon, which I saw the trailer for when I saw Dune Part Two. I don't think it looks very good. I'll be glad to be wrong, but I thought the trailer did not look good. But they were there.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Okay, so they were there to pay respect to stunt work in movies, right? Um,
Mhm.
and I've said this before, and I still feel this way. Like best stunt should be a category. Like stunt work
Mhm.
should be a category because people are like risking life and limb. And you saw some of the footage, like even like the cameraman. Like there was a shot of Matt Damon or a Matt Damon stunt double jumping across the building through a window, and the cameraman
Mhm.
was on a bungee cord and had to jump off the building with him. And
Yeah,
we're just gonna not award that.
that was awesome.
Um, yeah, the Schwarzenegger and DeVito um, and Keaton making old Batman jokes was like literally there for me. I was like so happy. Um, I was also really happy for Godzilla. I wish I had a chance to see
Yeah.
that in theaters. Um, but they had that viral reaction video where they recorded themselves watching the nominees and found that they got nominated, and they all lost their freaking minds. They
Aw.
couldn't believe it.
They seemed really sweet up there. I was very happy, and they had their little Godzilla toys, which I thought was so cute. It was so wholesome. The
Mm-hmm.
guy that was reading and probably either his or somebody else's handwriting because he was having trouble like even reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very cute. You could tell they were like very like nervous and excited, and it was just like I think the most wholesome part of the show. So
Yeah,
I was very excited for them.
and I loved that they brought up these big Hollywood blockbusters. We started training like
Hmm.
Rocky Balboa, and like just that it's like yes, the Hollywood film system is American in its roots, but it's global in its reach. It reaches
Hmm.
everywhere, multiple languages, multiple backgrounds. It doesn't matter where you're at. Like if the studio can get if these studios can get a movie to you, they will, and then that can impact that can make you want to grow up and make a Godzilla movie and win a freaking Academy
Hmm.
Award. Like that is so fucking cool. I loved that. Um, yeah, that was great. Bradley, I should have wrote time code for these notes, but right after they won, I wrote a note. Bradley Cooper in the front row, and I'm now realizing he's probably going home empty-handed. That's rough. I don't think Maestro won any awards at all. I think it was shut out.
Yeah, I don't think it did. Mm-mm.
And I have to be honest. I have to be honest. When you're watching the movie and you're in the movie, it all works. When you just see a clip, it's almost cartoonishly over the top. Like the
Yeah.
clip that they used of him, he's like, I'm trying to. I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're trying to win an Oscar, is what it looks like. um, so I
Yeah.
understand. I kind of understand why it didn't happen for Maestro. I still think it probably should have. Yeah, I think it should have won what I predicted it for, which was cinematography and makeup, because I feel
Yeah.
Oppenheimer's a great movie, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But yeah, Wes Anderson, boo, thumbs down, Wes Anderson. Okay, the short film category is for like independent filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers, filmmakers without a lot of
Mm-hmm.
resources. We couldn't make a full feature. We could only afford to make a short. And then he comes in and swoops in and wins his first Oscar and then isn't even there. And it's just like, why? I don't know. Like that really, it like bothered me. I'm like, you okay? So you couldn't win. You've been in the Hollywood system for a quarter of a century, and you couldn't win an Academy Award that way. So you thought, fuck it, I'll just make a short film that's easier. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just bothered me. I don't know, and maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. What do you think about that?
First, I didn't even know that he did a short film, which also then had me wondering what, why is he doing a short film when he's, does Hollywood films? Yeah, it does seem like if Steven Spielberg decided he was gonna go enter into like a local high school film festival, like it was kind of that feeling. Um, and yeah, you could tell that like the other shorts were things that kind of reminded me of like the student films that I saw when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me very much of that, and I did feel like yeah, those are the ones where we get the really like empowering speeches from these people who are always in tears. They never thought that they'd win an Oscar. This was like their only chance really to be seen and to have their work seen. And those are the ones that are more inspirational to me, but also makes me realize there's no way in heck I'm ever gonna win an Oscar or do anything like this. But it always is nice to see the people who aren't, Steven Spielberg's, um, Christopher Nolan's, who get their time to shine and get their work out there, and then from there, who knows, they could go on and be the next Christopher Nolan, whatever. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was weird to see to see Wes Anderson in the short film category, which apparently it's on Netflix. I think I've had no idea about this movie.
In
Um,
protest, I'm not going to watch
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
take your stupid Academy Award, Globo Jim. um, so I just just random notes of, curmudgeon me, curmudgeon to Jerish of just like, we needed a song for the Cheetos movie. What the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Uh,
Which
Zend
apparently, I think Eva Longoria, did she direct
produced
that
it,
movie?
maybe? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Because I thought they said they were interviewing, because I watched a couple, there were like two pre-shows
Mm-hmm.
before, and they said something like first time director, and they were talking to her.
Maybe she
And
did.
I don't know, I'll have to look at it, but yeah.
Um, Zendaya is dangerously close to joining the Timmy Club. I used to be indifferent about her, but she's starting to bother me. How there's just
Uh-oh.
like nothing going on when I saw her like in a trailer for Challengers, and I'm like, you're
Mhm.
just Zendaya. That's Zendaya. Yep.
Mhm.
Saw you in
Well,
Dune and saw you in Spider Man, and we're not really acting here. You're just Zendaya. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And that director is the same guy that directed Call Me by Your Name, which it features Timmy. That was like his big kind of like breakout role.
hmm,
So
hmm,
there you
hmm.
go.
It's all starting to make sense. Zone of Interest one for best sound. Um, I just wrote a note that like I think it's going to take longer for them to get to the stage than they're going to have time to speak because they were like it like took them like 90 seconds, almost 2 minutes to get all the way from the back down to the front.
Which
But
is
then I
funny that they would put them back there knowing that they won, right? Well, somebody knows, right? When they seat them.
I don't know, maybe not.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
maybe not.
but I thought that they were very lovable, very likable, and it's like I want a movie about
Mhm.
them. I want top hat bearded guy and his
Yeah.
late adulthood best friend. They found each other late in life, kindred music spirit or sound spirits. Um, yeah, I'm just Ken Live was epic. Um, Ludwig Göransson won for Oppenheimer for best original score. The note that I had was, um, like, and I've tried to listen to the Oppenheimer score more and more as it became apparent that it was probably going to win because I've been obsessed with the Poor Things soundtrack since I watched it. Still should have won. Um, I just wish the assignment on a Nolan movie wasn't sound like Hans Zimmer,
Yeah.
right? Like if you told me it was Hans Zimmer, I would believe you. I just wish there was a different mode, a different sound, a different way that he would marry music with his movies. Like it's been the same sound I feel since Dark Knight, I guess, or maybe Inception, that around that era, 10 or 15 years of just cool electronic orchestral Hans Zimmer music, whether it's Hans Zimmer or
Yeah.
somebody else. Um, but that guy, he is a really talented composer because again, like you mistake his work for Hans Zimmer, and those are really big
Yeah.
shoes. You know what I
That's
mean?
the highest compliment a composer could get. Honestly, I think Hans
Exactly.
Zimmer's the best to ever do it.
So I would say John Williams. We
Or besides, yeah,
maybe we'll do like an episode where we name favorite composers or something.
it could be
But
cool.
yeah, in my head, it's John Williams and Hans Zimmer are the top two names that come to my mind. But
Hmm.
um, Forrest Gump's mom was there. That was really cool.
Is
Um,
that what she won for?
Sally Field.
Best. Oh, maybe not.
No, she won for a movie in
It
the
was
70s or
Best Actress.
80s, and her kind of viral before social media was a thing. Her Oscars speech moment that everybody remembered was, "You like me, you really like
Oh,
me."
you really
That's
like me.
Sally
Yeah.
Field. Yeah, she said that during her
Okay. Okay.
Oscars acceptance speech.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Killian Murphy expected. Robert Downey expected. I really liked Killian's speech.
Hmm.
How you know, he thanked as many people as he could, spoke to his special relationship with a 20-year relationship with Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas,
Hmm.
and kind of, made a reference to how present day we still need to avoid bombing each other in war at all costs and like
Hmm.
please keep peace with all these things happening with Russia and Ukraine and Israel Palestine, like, so thanking peacekeepers I thought was a nice touch.
Yes.
um and then Nolan won Best Director. I might have tuned. I didn't really catch what he said in his speech.
Um. Yeah.
Hard to
I don't
remember,
really
huh?
remember anything that stuck out to me other than that he was just thanking everybody he worked with. And I think the words that were spoken the most tonight were Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
they were
because
thanked a
everybody,
lot.
yeah,
Hmm.
because they were thanked a whole lot, and it was always Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas, Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas, Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas.
Um, I'll get to my last two notes here, and then I'll ask a few questions. So Best Actress went to Emma Stone,
Hmm.
which I was actually really happy for because
I
she
applauded.
she won me over as
Hmm.
a non Emma Stone stan, right? An Emma
Hmm.
Stant. um, so the fact that she won me over and that movie won me over and that movie was so special, and I knew that like Ruffalo probably wasn't gonna get it. I just was glad because the performances in that movie across the board, even Willem Dafoe, who I'm not sure was nominated, is just memorable.
Yeah.
Is impactful.
Hmm.
Um, and then like Best Picture, I love Al Pacino. I love Al Pacino. I think he fucked
Bless
all
his
that
heart.
up.
Yeah, I think it was probably past his bedtime. Um, he definitely, maybe he had had a little bit to drink. I don't know.
Maybe,
It
but
seemed like it was we got Grandpa out of the home a little too early. Like
yeah,
he shouldn't have. It wasn't his time to come out. Um, it's so funny because that seems to be the award where the most flubs happen, or like crazy stuff happens, and it's the biggest award. And it's maybe it's because there's so much like attention drawn to it that like we notice when things like that happen. Um, but yeah, I liked the little remark that Jimmy Kimmel made after Emma Stone won, where he said, "Let's shred that envelope," so
yeah.
that it 'Cause that's exactly what happened before, right? It was because she won, right, for that? Yeah.
Yeah, so what happened was
Um,
she won for Best Actress, and then it was Best Picture, and the person in charge of the envelope was busy posting. He was busy posting on Twitter. He like took a picture like, I'm the guy in charge of the envelope. No pressure. Hashtag Oscars. Hashtag let's go. Blah, blah, blah. He was too busy. He was so busy posting on social media that he got the envelopes mixed up and he gave them the same envelope twice. So when
yeah.
Warren Beatty and who else was with him? I don't remember. Was it
It's
an
no, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I know this well, but I know her. She was in 1984 Supergirl. She was the villain in that, but she's been in a bunch of other things. But
okay.
yes.
Well, when they came out on stage to read Best Picture, they had the Best Actress envelope. So it just said Emma
Yeah.
Stone. And so they were like, okay, I guess this is the movie, which
I
they
think it
should have
said
not
Emma
have
Stone,
blurted that out. They should
and then
have
it said
double,
beneath it La La Land.
yeah,
And I think
but they
that's what
should
they
have
read.
looked,
They just, yeah.
and they should have looked at the front and been like, oh, this is still
Hmm.
the actress one. It would have been a way more acceptable mess up to say, oh, we need the right envelope real quick. 2 seconds, flip flop,
Hmm.
than
Well,
to
he
literally
was
announce the wrong.
confused.
Yeah, they both
He
were.
hesitated, and she took it and
She
was
blurted
like,
it
"Oh, you're
out.
messing around," and she did it. But he was like confused, but I guess wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
Um,
And then half of La La Land like started standing up thinking they won and then they didn't. Anyway, we're not
yes.
it yeah.
Yeah.
Number one biggest like
Hey,
Oscars
it's been 10 years, right? Wasn't it
eight
10 years
eight
ago?
years. Eight
8 years?
7 or 8 because La La Land came out in 2016, so it would have been the 2017
Okay.
Oscars. So 7 years.
Yeah.
Still very memorable.
Mhm.
But anyway, I feel Pacino really flubbed it. I think he was supposed to go over the nominees and he didn't. And he barely mumbled, I think I see Oppenheimer. Like, what are you doing? Say
Yeah,
the
there
fucking
was
the
no
best
tension there.
picture.
Well, I think because with the what they did with the song, best original song, was because they were announcing them all night long. There wasn't a need, I guess, to go over the nominees. And the same with best picture, they were showing clips from each one as it went on. So I think that was kind of like the reason why. But yeah, it was definitely it should have been a best picture, and the Oscar goes to, but it was just like,
Just
I
say
think
it.
my eyes see Oppenheimer's.
He's fucking
My eyes.
toying. He's toying with the careers and emotions of dozens of human beings and thousands, millions of fans around the world. Just like, this isn't about you, Al Pacino. It's about fucking Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer. So just say the award goes to and let them fucking hear those words. Why would you do
Nobody knew
that?
what to do at first. They weren't like clapping at first
Yes.
because nobody was sure what was going on.
God, so fucking stupid. Anyway, like, yeah.
Jimmy
But
Kimmel was probably like, not again.
it really annoyed me. I'm like, they've waited their whole lives for this moment. You're like, I think it's your movie, maybe. I don't know
Hmm.
what to do. It's like sadistic. It's like, I'm really thirsty. Can I have some water? I'm like, it's right here. Oh gosh, it's so good though too. It's like I'm really parched. Anyway, what would you consider the biggest upset?
Biggest upset. Um, I mean, probably the best song. Honestly, for me personally. Let me review my notes. Um,
Well, I'll
oh,
answer since
okay.
I. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, you go.
I was gonna say I put you on the spot. I knew I was gonna ask this question. I
Hmm.
think when I think about biggest upsets, it really does come down to cinematography and makeup for Maestro because Oppenheimer's a strong film. Oppenheimer, I've rewatched a little bit of it over this last week because because the Oscars were coming, and yeah, like it's good. It's a it won Best Picture. I'm just saying, for me personally, for my opinion that I'm sharing here, it is a good movie. It's a well made movie. It's a well crafted movie. It's a little bit more rewatchable than maybe I even remembered and gave it credit for because you start getting into the scenes and that dialogue hits and that music hits and those camera moves keep going. You know what I mean? And it's like it draws you in. It's very compelling and it's dry subject matter. So the fact that it's like so compelling is like a compliment. But I guess just for me, like when I think about Nolan's career, which again, I feel like this year was kind of just a celebration of his career for what he's done for movies, for what he, his championing of IMAX, his championing of film over digital, his championing of the big screen experience, trying to get, if you really love movies, you'll really go to the theater. Stop watching it on your phone, stop waiting for streaming, whatever, right? So he's probably has a large part of movies continuing to have any kind of shred of success, can be attributed to his passion for the art form as a participant and filmmaker within the system. But I'm just saying, like within his career, I can think of more memorable camera moves, sequences, cinematography choices, the hallway scene in Inception, the docking sequence in Interstellar,
Oh my god.
probably the entirety of Dunkirk, even though I don't like that movie. It's like a nonstop action movie. You know what I mean? Where this was just like a lot of medium shots, a lot of close ups, a lot of medium shots, a lot of close ups. And I was, just to be frank, I was pretty underwhelmed by the Trinity test. I didn't think that explosion. I've seen way bigger explosions in Schwarzenegger movies 40 years ago, and this is supposed to be the atomic bomb. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, I just, uh, I just was really bummed because I know that I just felt like such hard work went into, decades of eras of film technique went into Maestro. Um, and then yeah,
Yeah.
same with makeup. Like I love Poor Things. I would have been happy if it won every award, but I think it's maybe objectively a little bit of an upset because I think there was probably a little bit more make better makeup in other movies, but whatever. Not gonna complain because that was like a surprise hit. That's like a lifer movie for me. I think that I'll probably rewatch as I continue to get older. But what
Hmm.
about upset for you?
Yeah, I think probably the best makeup because I was pretty sure it was gonna be Maestro. Um, 'Cause yeah, I definitely just Bradley Cooper's old age makeup. Just that first scene where it's him sitting at the piano and you see and there's like no seams. I mean, it looks real. I mean, it's the most convincing old age makeup I've ever seen. And I thought Carrie Mulligan's was very good as well. As they aged her, as much because she wasn't that old
Mm-hmm.
when she passed. I thought that was very convincing. Like I could see that that's what Carrie would look like at that age. Um, yeah, probably that would be the upset for me. I was kind of surprised when I saw that Poor Things won. But
So think about your biggest surprise. Like, what was your biggest surprise? For me, I think it had to be. Um, I just had it. I just had it. Where'd it go? Oh, American Fiction winning Best Adapted Screenplay. I'm happy for that movie. Um,
uh,
and I think that it does stick with you too. Like I still think about some of the jokes, that family, what that movie, the message of that movie, what it had to say, and how I consume multicultural media as an uncultured swine. You know what I mean? Like, what do I want from entertainment? How do I receive entertainment? What kind of entertainment do I make? Like the movies that I wrote and directed. How shitty were they? How good was my last book? How can I
very.
make my next book even better? You know what I mean? Like, and like, what
Mhm.
audience am I serving? Am I serving, what type of people am I appealing to? These are things that like I've never really, it's like it's been like a tertiary moment's thought at the end of the day, like, oh, I'm getting ready to hit release, I wonder who's gonna like this, you know what I mean? Versus
Mhm.
now it's like, well, shit, I'm writing a second book here, like, who do I want to like this book, you know what I mean? um but yeah, and just the idiosyncratic nature of writing Oppenheimer in first person just sounded like such an Oscar story that I just thought was a shoe in to win. And then, I mean, talking about surprises, you have to talk about John Cena naked at the Oscars, which he
Yeah.
could have been wearing what they call a
It
sock,
looked
but he looked like
That's what I was
legit
thinking. It looked because it was down far enough to where he wasn't wearing like a speedo or anything. Like I think he was definitely
all the
like
way.
he had just like a mod. He probably had like a modesty sock on that you would wear like in an intimate scene. Um, that's probably it. If that maybe he was going full
The
nude.
full
I don't
Monty.
know. Yeah, full Monty.
And
Um,
then I'll say my last big surprise, or actually, I'll save that. I'll save that because that's more of like a favorite
okay.
moment thing, is what I was gonna say. So yeah, what was like a big
Okay.
surprise to you?
Yeah, honestly, and I was happy about it, but I was surprised for the best actress. I was expecting it to be Lily Gladstone. I just felt like there was so much buzz around her. She was winning. Um, that just seemed like that was the one that it was going to be. But like I said, I applauded when it was Emma Stone. I was happy for her. I wanted personally Carey Mulligan, but she um I always say this, affected me emotionally more, but I was really happy and proud of Emma Stone and her performance, and I was glad because she's friends with Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence was up there. I wish they'd had her like do say the nice things to her, but maybe that would have been too easy. I don't know, but
Two on the nose.
yeah, I probably was yeah, I was surprised, but in a good way. But I was just totally expecting that to be Lily Gladstone. But yeah, the American Fiction one, I was a little surprised about that. That's not what I'd predicted, and but I think that was like the only thing they won, right? An American
American
Fiction
Fiction.
one.
Yeah,
hmm
that's it. Hmm.
Yeah, I was glad that they did get something. It was kind of like
Yes.
almost every Best Picture got something
Yeah, except Maestro.
at nominee. Yeah, except Maestro. Yeah, that's true. Um, Anatomy of a Fall got something.
It won for best screenplay, which
Zone of
it was so on
Interest.
the nose. That was my
I was
one.
gonna say
That was my
you were, yeah.
prediction, and it
Mhm.
really deserved it. It was such a clinical screenplay and such a smart screenplay too. Um, what were some of your favorite moments? A couple of my favorite moments was obviously I'm Just Ken, Ryan Gosling, and then Mulaney taking jabs at Madam Web and then going into the entire
Yeah.
plot of Field of Dreams. I
I
was
know, which that's the one
way.
I haven't seen yet
Oh
that you were telling
no!
me to watch, and I was like, what are the odds
Did
that's
you
the
close your
one?
ears?
I heard it all because I thought surely he's not gonna do the whole, and he did. He proceeded to do the whole thing, but I was like, I mean, the basics of that I knew, and it's on me. You know, if you haven't seen that movie, that's on you.
It is a
But
classic. It was an instant
um,
classic. It was
it'll still be
popular when it came
enjoyable.
out, and it's been popular for 3 decades. And yes, even whatever blurb or spoiler you heard in the moment, it's different than experiencing it. It really is.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's a movie that like was just like a big part of my childhood. It was always on in the background. It was on, TV all the time, and I'm from the Midwest, so a Midwest-based movie, and just yeah. But I thought his bit of just like he starts again like making fun of Madam Web and then goes into the entire plot of a 30-year-old Kevin Costner movie. And he's like, anyway, best sound. um, and then yeah, I'm Just Ken, I think. And then the DeVito Schwarzenegger ganging up against Batman with Danny
Yeah.
Elfman music was really fucking cool to me. How about you?
Mhm. I mean, the same things. Yeah. I'm Just Ken. Um, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, Batman. Um, yeah, and honestly, yeah, the John Cena, like just completely crazy, out in left field, like what's going on. And see, that's what I think it was a fun Oscars. Like it was
Hmm.
fun to watch. You know, nobody got offended. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. at the opening monologue, which you ought to go back and watch,
Yeah,
which I
what did
think because he
just about RDJ?
he
Don't
made a
recap the whole
reference
thing, but
to
yeah.
he made a reference to Robert Downey Jr. formerly having a drug problem.
Okay. All right.
Um, he used to play on words of the word high.
Okay.
And then Robert Downey Jr. was like keep it moving, and then he kept going a little bit. Like it was all in good fun, and at the end,
Hey, look, that's how
when
you take a joke that you don't particularly
mhm,
care for. It's so
yeah,
strange that
see,
Robert
he
Downey
didn't run
Jr.
up and
didn't
his
slap the
wife didn't run up
shit out
there
of
and
Jimmy
slap
Kimmel.
him.
Keep my drug use out your fucking mouth. Anyway,
Yeah,
Um,
and at the end, Jimmy Kimmel was up there, and I noticed that he and Robert Downey Jr. were
they
like
talked.
hugging and
Yeah.
smiling and laughing. So he probably did like go up and say, "I hope I didn't like actually offend you at the, you know." Um, but yeah, I thought that was yeah, it was a very enjoyable Oscars all the way around, I think.
All right, last question.
Mhm.
Least favorite speech and favorite speech.
Oh God.
And then we're going to rate the Oscars. And then go and then reveal our score tally and then we'll get out of here.
Okay. Um,
I can
my least. You want to go first?
well, I mean I have been, but if you have an answer, you go ahead and go first.
My favorite speech definitely was it's a toss up between Emma Stone's because I really liked her like raw emotion, and
Mhm.
you could tell that she was very grateful that she didn't necessarily expect it. She was probably also thinking it's Lily Gladstone.
Mhm.
Um, I think it was very nice to see that, and her dress was broken, and the comment she made where I think it broke during "I'm just Ken" was very funny, and it's a toss up between that and honestly the Godzilla uh -1 speech
Yeah.
honestly is like it's like a wholesome speech that was very genuine. There was no BS in it. Um and then out of my least favorite speech, I don't know, there wasn't really one that like I didn't care for that I can think of. Um
There
I don't
was for
know.
me.
Okay.
I'll say my least favorite was
Oh, I
Robert
can
Downey Jr.'s.
really.
Yeah, because at first he's like blamed his shitty childhood, like he's been in Hollywood since he was 4.
Oh,
Which again,
yeah.
I'm not saying just because you have money doesn't mean you don't have interpersonal conflict in your life. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is like when you have lived a privileged life to the public, to try to take the piss out of yourself in the biggest age in the biggest moment, it's just a little hard to do and to win people over, I think. Um, and then he kept made another callback to the publicist. Like a bunch of people kept bringing callbacks to the
Oh,
publicist,
because of
which I thought
yeah.
was like such a dead joke. But even after the first time somebody said it,
Mhm.
um, and then yeah, I don't know. I just there was just something about it where it just was like, and again, it might have been the moment. It could. I'm all of my criticism of this is like I'm never gonna be there. I can't imagine what I would say or do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm everybody that we talk about has the benefit of the doubt that it's the fucking Oscars, and I'm not gonna say things right or feel or even be in control of my own emotions. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, just to talk about the broadcast and talk about the speeches, like I would have liked a little bit more out of such a naturally charismatic guy, and there just wasn't a lot there besides, yeah, thanks. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, favorite, I definitely agree. Emma Stone is up there. I thought Davine Joy Randolph, after she got past all the religious bullshit, I thought was like really heartfelt and sincere about sticking
Yeah.
with what she believed in and stopped trying to be different and what everybody else wanted her to be and to just be herself. And um, I do want to give like credit there because even me myself, I'm like really critical of actors who I don't think are actors, right? Who don't transform themselves or manipulate their hairstyles or dialects or, gain weight, lose weight, use prosthetics, don't use prosthetics. I really like people that transform themselves and become different people. But there is something to be said about, this is who I am. These are mannerisms that I have. This is a way of speaking that I have. And because of this, I'm a really good actor in these roles, right? Keanu Reeves is good at the silent action man. John Hamm is a person of authority. You know what I mean? Like Paul Giamatti
Mhm.
is a teacher, right? Like there
Mhm.
and it doesn't mean you're a bad actor. It just means you're a good enough actor that you found what you excel at and you're focusing on it. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
so the fact that she was like, I'm just going to be me and whatever happens, happens, and this perfect Oscar winning role came across her way, I thought was like really cool.
Mhm.
So yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. What would you rate it on the Modern Campfire scale? How many marshmallows would you give the broadcast overall? And then we'll go over our final
Um,
scores here.
I think I'm gonna give it an 8.5 marshmallows out of 10.
Okay. I'm gonna say a 9. I really liked it. I was like engaged. I barely looked at my phone. I was because when um because they were showing so many reaction shots. You know what I mean? And just seeing all the
Mhm.
actors there, seeing all the performers there, and as somebody who hasn't watched it regularly in a really long time, um, seeing everybody come together and say such nice things about everybody and try to be a force for good and be positive, and it was about the movies. And yes, you have some political statements in there about let's have peace in the world, which shouldn't be political. Um, but for the most part it was about the movies, it was about storytelling, it was about how it makes their living possible and it makes our lives better for having it as a piece of entertainment to enjoy as we go through the ride of life. And it just was like really kind of affirming and positive and uplifting, even at the low points, even if Robert Downey Jr. didn't say everything perfect and that guy sang out of tune, it's fine, it's fine. uh but I'm really glad that I watched it. I'm super glad that I watched it. It was way
Mhm.
more fulfilling and rewarding and fun than just Googling the results afterwards, you know?
Yeah.
So, to the matter of
Mhm.
predictions. So, and we can compare math, but as a
Mhm.
reminder for people who care, we did, there was 18 categories that we predicted, and we chose what we wanted to win, what we actually thought would win, and those are two separate, you know, points. If the magic happened and what we wanted is what we predicted, then you got a bonus point. You got 3 points. Okay. Um, so by my tally, Mirrors, you ended up with 14 points, and I ended up with 21 points.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, you got a lot more right than I did. I know that. I had two
Yeah.
that I got that I wanted and predicted correctly. Or I'm sorry, three categories.
That you
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
and
what?
predicted,
Mhm.
and I had 4. And then there was a couple more that I wanted, where even though my prediction was wrong, where I got a couple more bonus points for that as well, where even
Yeah.
what you wanted didn't win.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I
Yeah, and I had
still,
5 ones that either was just one of that I got right.
and I had two, three, four. I had 5 categories for 0 points. Like I totally whiffed on makeup for Maestro. We both whiffed on
3,
animated.
4, 5,
I was really happy
Yeah.
for this. I was like so glad Spider-Man didn't win. Spider-Man is such a nothing filler movie. Like
Mhm.
again, outside of the action sequence in the last 20 minutes, after the third one comes out, nobody's rewatching that second Spider-Man in my opinion. That's just me. Um but yeah, this has been a really fun journey watching the
Mhm.
Oscar nominated films and going through Oscar season here the last couple of months. We will kind of have to discuss and decide how we want to tackle movie reviews after in this post Oscars world. But rest assured, we will still talk about movies around here. So, Mears, why don't you take us home?
All right, if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And also, don't forget to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts on the Oscars. And did the people who won, were they the ones that you thought would win? And what were your favorite and least favorite moments? Thanks for watching. Until next time.